Hello everybody, this is thejonnymar, and welcome back to my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. We just got the last of the 3 pendants, and we are finally able to get the Master Sword. So we need to head over to the Lost Woods and pick that up. And the first thing we have to do is go through this little cave here. You have to watch out for bats. So using the boomerang, as you saw, is a good tactic. And you want to run all the way against the left wall here so you avoid all these pits. Pits are very bad for you at this point. Now, our long journey is almost at an end. We are through the first 3 dungeons. We are about to get the Master Sword, and once we get that, we can move on and finally take on Agahnim, the evil wizard. Ugh. Knock it off. Stop it. Stop it, you jerk. Alright, we just gotta get through a couple screens here to get to the middle of the forest. And you may have noticed some little fake swords hanging around. Those are decoys or copies of the Master Sword, not the real deal. So get out your Book of Mudora, hold it up. We have our 3 symbols of virtue, so we can pick up our sword. What a moment. Unfortunately, the Game Boy Advance sound effects are a little less than stellar, so you don't get that sound of the sword being pulled out of the stone, but it was still a great moment. And we have the Master Sword, which is able to deflect or reflect magic from the evil Agahnim. So we are the hero officially now. What the? Uh-oh. Sanctuary? It must be after Zelda. Well, we should probably go help them, don't you think? Now, one thing you get with the Master Sword is an extended reach. It's got about an extra third or half of the length of the first sword that you have. So it's a little bit easier to hit enemies. See if I can dodge this jerk. Alright. Now, usually you're going to want to head to Sanctuary after this. You don't have to. You can skip it. There's just a little scene there. You can go right to the Imperial Castle if you want, but I'm actually going to skip all of that and show you this little crab here. Runs around and spits out rupees. I'm going to go back up Death Mountain. And why am I going back up Death Mountain, you may ask? Well, there's an item up there I can get now. You might want to wait till a little bit later to get it. I find it to be one of the most useful items in the game, and so I'm going to get it as soon as possible. And I'm going to be using it religiously and much of the rest of the game. All the old guy mentioned there was that the Moon Pearl protects us so that we won't turn into the bunny anymore if we go into the Golden Land. And you'll get to see that in a second when we go back up to the top of Death Mountain. So head back the way towards the Tower of Hera. And just to the left of the Tower of Hera is a little floating island. And on that island is a monolith that will allow us to access, get through the portal here, our next item. So as you see, I'm not a bunny anymore. And we don't get the music either. There was that really cool music the one time that we did this before, and we're the bunny. So head up here, head left, get out your Book of Mudora again. Hold up the Master Sword to get the magic of Ether, or Ether. I've always called it Ether. The Ether Medallion. Now, this is one of my favorite items in the game. This freezes every enemy on the screen. And freezing serves a couple different purposes. It stops enemies cold, if you don't mind the pun. but it also allows you to break them later when you get an item in the second part of the game. So once we get that item, I will of course let you know, but for now, it's going to be very useful when we go back into the Imperial Castle. So we've done all this before. Now let's head over to the Sanctuary. Die! I hate crows so much. It feels so good to be Let's Playing again. It was a rough last couple of weeks. Alright. Uh-oh, what happened to this guy? I just missed him, huh? Highest room in the tower. Sacrificer. Well, surprise, surprise. It's my job to save her. Well, let's go do that then. You head to the left and south, there's actually a little forest that has an entrance to the castle. This is the route later on in the game when I'm going to try to get the Chris Houlihan room that you have to take in order to get that, or at least one of the ways, the way I know of to get that. And I'm not even sure if it's still in this version of the game. I assume it is, and I'll be trying to get it once we finish. Head in. This will all look familiar, but we're going to be getting to a part that shouldn't look so familiar because we're heading south and outside. And earlier in the game, if you came here, you would not have been able to get past this barrier. With the Master Sword, though, nothing stands in our way. I'm getting out my bow and arrow because I can take out these guys with 4 arrows. Save some time and some fuss instead of hitting them with your sword. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be using the Ether Medallion a lot. There's the nice effect. Later in the game, you can actually crush these guys because they're obviously frozen. And when you do that, you have a very high chance of getting magic replenishing items. Which is good because these medallions, there are a couple more in the game that we'll be getting, take up a lot of magic power. Now, without the Ether Medallion, this room is a real pain. There are a ton of enemies in here. So I just like to freeze them all and get it over with. That way I don't have to worry about seeing them or running around and getting hit. You have to get the key over here. And the door's way in the southeast corner. And I don't think these guys actually thaw out ever. I think they stay frozen until you kill them. Or at least I've never had them thaw out on me. A lot of these rooms you can just skip. Bottomless pits. Another room we gotta be careful. Watch out for these guards. There's another one up here. Stun them. And in this room, you actually need a key from this arrow guy. Dodge, and then up the stairs. We're actually almost to the end of this already. I don't think I have enough. Nope, no, not enough magic. So we'll have to kill these guys the old-fashioned way. Ah, that was great. Full magic restore. Just one more room. Oh, actually a couple more rooms. Spoke too soon. Stun and slash. Those eyeball bats are really freaky. First time we've seen them in the game. Bats are a nemesis from the NES days. Just about every platformer and adventure game and RPG seem to have bat enemies. push this statue and dodge all these guys. We got 2 soldiers in here. Let's just freeze the main one on this little path up here. And we are only 1 or 2 rooms from Agahnim. Ooh, the music is ominous. You've been waiting for me, huh? Well, sorry to keep you waiting. Final breath. But we're supposed to save her. No. Okay. Game over, I guess. Can't I? How I must go. All right. Well, I saw where you went. You went behind this curtain. Let's do this. Come on. Now, Agahnim has a couple different attacks here. You use the Master Sword to knock his energy balls back at him, interestingly enough. You can also use the bug catching net to reflect those balls. Not sure why that is, but it does work. I will use the Master Sword, though. His second attack is this little blue ball thing. You notice he does follow you when you try to move around the room. When he goes up to the middle of the top of the room, he's about to throw lightning. You can tell because he doesn't track you anymore. You have to hit 6 of his energy balls back at him. I think that is 4, maybe? No, that was 4. This one should be 5. Ugh. Of course it missed. Can't be that easy. So this should have killed him, but because I missed, I have to go through the lightning one more time. Okay, one more. Let's do this. Come on. Ow. Love that sound effect. Draw me into the dark world. Jerk. Come here. Whoa. Communicating with telepathy. Everyone seems to be able to use telepathy in this game. Dark world. And Sahasrahla mentions that you can go back and forth between the worlds by using a portal near the castle through the entrance. So we have to try to restore the Dark World to the Golden Land. And to do that, we have to save the descendants of the 7 sages who, in classic Zelda fashion, are locked away in dungeons we must go through. So our first target is the Palace of Darkness to the east, or the mirror of basically the Eastern Palace, which was where the first pendant was. As you can see on our map here, it's pretty much the only location we can get to at this point. But the item of that dungeon actually opens up the world quite a bit and lets us do some sequence breaking. This heart piece gives us another heart, and if you come through this crack here, which actually isn't in the SNES version, you get the Palace of the Four Sword, which is unique to this version of the game. So in my next episode, we will be taking on the Dark Palace. So until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.